Hey there, everybody. Franklin Taggart here, and it is time for the virtual coffee break. Got my coffee, grab your beverage, let's chat. A couple of things that have been on my mind today and this evening. I had a wonderful time speaking to the Self Pub Hub group tonight. My friend Jess Kotzer has really created a wonderful program for authors and self-publishers that I think needs to be checked out by anybody who's, working in one of those areas. But there were several things that came up tonight that were very interesting observations. And one of the ones that came up again for me was the whole idea of collaborating with other creators that are working in a similar field to you to create the scene that you're going to be a part of, right? I think one of the things that happens for us creators is that we get siloed. We get separated into our own little, world of trying to promote gigs, trying to book gigs, trying to, publish books, trying to sell books. And one of the things that happens is that we lose sight of that it might be beneficial for us to work with other people to build the audience that's going to support all of us. And I remember back when I was recording my only CD that got released now 21 years ago this week. In fact, I think the anniversary's coming up. The 17th will be 21 years since my CD came out. But I remember when I was working on that recording, the producer that I worked with, Tom Espinola, wonderful guy and very wise. One of the things that he was talking about was that what we needed in the community where we lived was a scene, a music scene. Now, Washington, D.C. had a pretty interesting music scene. It was very diverse. Lots of really cool pockets of great music, but the pockets didn't overlap a lot. They do now, but back then they were kind of just little pockets that didn't influence each other. There wasn't a lot of cross-pollination and those kinds of things. And one of the things that Tom said was, what really needs to happen here, especially for singer-songwriters, is that there just needs to be a scene. And what was really fun, there were some really cool little informal grassroots things that were going on at the time. And I think that some of the players in those groups actually did go on to really create what's happening now for songwriters in the Washington, D.C. area. But before that, it was pretty loose. But those collaborations just started out with, let's get together and put on an event, and let's schedule, let's find several venues where we can host open mics and showcases, and let's just put it together. And over time, they really created something that has become kind of a cornerstone music scene for singer-songwriters anyway in the Washington, D.C. area. And that scene provides opportunities for a number of both local and regional and national touring acts. And it's been really amazing to watch. In the same time period, several new larger venues have opened in that area and have created opportunities for local people, especially to be opening acts for national acts. And so creating that scene has built opportunities to perform that otherwise wouldn't exist. And I really feel like that there are other places where this same kind of opportunity could be cultivated. I've mentioned before that, for for authors in a similar genre, maybe one of the things that could be put together would be a blog and podcast community or a YouTube channel community that's specifically for people who read that genre. I think too often what happens is that we put together, content marketing kinds of things like podcasts and video channels that are kind of designed for other professionals in our field. Well, there's nothing wrong with that, but that doesn't build up our readership. It doesn't build up our followers. It doesn't build up the potential for people to actually buy the things that we've created. What would do that is if we had some kind of community that was focused on that particular type of experience. Now, one of the things that I've been really encouraged to see are the fan fiction communities that are online. And to see, some of these have been around for now going on 3 decades. And their fan fiction, a couple that come to mind are, some of the Harry Potter fan fiction groups. And another one was, I can't think of the name of it. Maybe it'll come to me, maybe it won't. It's late now. But I was really impressed with the fan fiction groups because in some ways, the perspectives that the fan fiction writers brought to the characters and to the plot lines and to the universe of that particular, author or that particular series, the perceptions that they brought were unique and original, and everybody had, I think, an enriched experience of the original work because of the quality of the fan fiction. So who's to say that, fan fiction isn't an option for a group of authors? Or who's to say that there couldn't be a group of, dancers that create some kind of a local or regional scene by working together that actually builds an audience for that type of art and that type of creation. Now, one of the things that I think stands in the way of that is that we're in the habit of working alone. Now, my podcast is for people who love working alone. But I really feel like the collaboration is something that we need to really consider when it comes to getting our creative work in front of people who are going to appreciate it, people who are going to support it, people who are going to buy it. I really feel like the collaboration is the key there, because we're not living in a time when the curators have room for everything that's happening. So I think one of the things that we can look at is how can we band together to build communities that appreciate and consume the work that we do, and appreciate it and consume it at a level that they support it financially too. So those are some of the thoughts that came out of that talk tonight. One other interesting observation. I found it interesting that folks, by and large, I can't say that I met one person in that group that was very outspoken in their support of social media. So one of the things that I'm wondering is if we're seeing a downward trend in using social media. I'm kind of, in one way, I'm not disappointed, because I think that algorithms have kind of gotten to the point where they're really making it difficult for us to really connect with each other. And that was ultimately the original promise, was that this was a place that we could make connections. Well, by and large, it's just become, a rather lengthy commercial that we all spend our time doing every day. But I was very interested to see that social media was something that most people were not vocally supportive of. I'm wondering if the collaborations that I'm talking about could make a difference in social media and the way that it's used and in the way that it's experienced and in the content that's shared there. As an example, I was just thinking about, what if they were to do some kind of a social media based book festival where over the course of a week they feature, a handful of authors talking about the books that they've written, reading parts of it, making special packages available and things like that. What if that kind of an event could actually make social media a much more pleasurable place for both the creators and the consumers to meet, connect, and enjoy each other? Just a thought. Well, folks, I'm reaching the end of my day here. I hope whatever time of day it is there, that it's good for you. And tomorrow I'll be back with another coffee break. Thank you so much, as always, for your time and your attention. So long.